What is up, everybody? I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. My name is Austin, and this is going to be my gift guide to the fashion lover in your life. So being a person that's into fashion and clothes in general, I have found that I am a person that is pretty difficult to buy a present for. I'm extremely particular about the pieces that I want, and often what I find is that the pieces that I do want are too expensive for me to feel comfortable to ask someone to buy for me. So I've compiled a short list of items that would make any fashion lover happy. All these items are going to be around or under $50, so it should also be within anybody's budget, but let's go ahead and get into it. So in my mind, a great gift is something that a person would want or find helpful, but not particularly want to spend their own money on. And I think that a good example of that is shoe trees. Now, shoe trees are great because I think almost everybody would find them very useful, especially for any sneaker lovers in your life. A good shoe tree is going to help a sneaker maintain its shape as well as prevent any creases. Also, one thing I love using them for is for when I travel. When I'm packing multiple shoes into my suitcase, I don't want them to get crushed or deformed under the weight of all my other clothes. So a good shoe tree is going to make sure that they maintain their shape and won't get damaged. There's also a lot of different kinds of shoe trees that you can get. So you can get these cheap plastic ones. I got these off of Amazon. I use these generally for just my normal sneakers or just kind of not that expensive of shoes. And there's also these more expensive wooden ones that I typically use for my fancier shoes, like my dress shoes or my boots. Another great thing about these wooden ones is that they're going to help absorb moisture and keep your shoes from smelling. So definitely both are great options, especially if the person you are buying for has a lot of shoes. They can definitely use as many shoe trees as they can get. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So next up on the list is going to be small jewelry or accessories, and in this case in particular, rings. Now there are a lot of jewelry brands out there, and I told you guys that I'm going to be keeping this list $50 and under. So one brand I wanted to show you guys is Shiro Studio. Shiro Studio is a brand that I've been buying from for a couple years now, and for this video I reached out to them to see if I could showcase some rings to show you guys. Each of these rings is going to be around that $50 mark, are all made of 100% silver, and in my opinion is the only brand that I've seen that is able to deliver very good quality product at not such a crazy price. And I've been checking out a lot of brands, especially all the ones that pop up on Instagram or that I see online. Most are charging at least $100 for 100% silver pieces, and in my opinion, the designs are just okay. So along with all of the more traditional designs that you see for rings, Shiro Studios takes inspiration from a lot of Asian culture and anime, which I think is a very cool viewpoint for them to do, and a lot of their pieces look really great. I particularly love their Kulia ring, which unfortunately was sold out, but is based off the lightning powers that he uses in the anime, and it was just a piece that was very cool and stuck out, and I can definitely see why it was so popular. Shiro Studio was also kind enough to give me a 15% off promo code to give to you guys, so that'll be below in the description for you guys to check out. So the next gift that I got is related to the previous one, and that is a jewelry case. Now again, this is going to be from Shiro Studio. However, they did not send me this one. This is something that my wife got me for my birthday this year, and honestly was the genesis of this entire video. It was something that I had honestly no idea that I needed, but when she bought it for me, I was definitely grateful that I did, and it has become a regular thing that I use every day. So in this particular case, it gives me a lot of slots to keep all of my rings, as well as some additional pockets to keep some of my necklaces. And it even has this giant compartment in the back that I can keep larger items like my watch. Having something like this has been incredibly helpful for me. Before having this, I kept all of my pieces in their own original boxes. So it was quite cumbersome when I wanted to put all of it on, and I was just opening maybe 4 or 5 boxes at a time just to get all the pieces that I want. This is also incredibly helpful for traveling as well. I went on a trip to Korea earlier this year before I had this, and for that I just packed all of my jewelry in their individual boxes in a Ziploc bag, and overall was not very good in terms of space saving and didn't look the best. Now with this, all I have to do is pack this in. I know that all of my pieces are going to stay protected and I'll be good to go. So while it doesn't necessarily have to be this one from Shiro Studio, a jewelry case is definitely a great gift. So the next item is something that I've seen more people talk about online, and is something that I think is perfect for any fashion lover, and that is a fashion magazine. So especially today, I feel like the art of print and kind of getting your inspiration from these curated magazines is something that's lost, especially with Instagram and TikTok and everybody and all the brands putting their campaigns just on a feed that you're just going to be casually scrolling past. With something like a magazine, I feel like as you turn the page, everything's just a lot more tactile, you're gonna be paying more attention, and the inspiration just seems greater when you're looking at it from a page. So my favorite one is a Japanese magazine called Popeye. You may have heard of it. They just cover a lot of Japanese pop culture and fashion. And in this particular issue, they cover just the current fashion trends that they see in Japan, but they do have a lot of other issues covering a lot of different topics. Some other magazines that I like that kind of have the same vibe are Brutus, Go Out, and in general, Japan just has a lot of published works that kind of catalog a lot of different products. You can typically find these in a Japanese bookstore. There's a very popular one in America called Kiyokunya, I believe is how you pronounce it. Or you can also find these on something like Amazon or Magazine Cafe. Along with being something that you can read and pull inspiration from, each magazine can also just act as decoration, like putting it on your coffee table and your bookshelf, and I think does a lot to add a little bit of a person's personality to their space. Each of these magazines is also relatively cheap. I believe each of them is maybe $20 in the US. They're a little bit cheaper in Asia, but obviously it's a little harder to get. But yeah, definitely a great option. And the last gift option that I have is something that's pretty simple, but I feel like people often overlook, and that's just a very basic accessory or item from your person's favorite brand. So if the person that you're shopping for is into fashion and into clothes, you probably have a pretty good idea of what brands they like. And today, a lot of brands are going to have items out there that aren't necessarily clothes, but are still within their universe, their design, and that are relatively cheap. It could be a hat, a belt, a ring, a bracelet, a mug, a plate, a picture frame. Really, there are thousands of options out there. Just look at Supreme. They've made hundreds of accessories just slapping their name on it. And each of these things are typically going to be cheaper than the clothes that they sell, while still being pretty accessible and something that a person would love. So for example, for me, I love the brand Stussy and a lot of the jackets that they come out with. The problem is a lot of those jackets are around $200 to $300, which is way more than I'd be comfortable someone spending on me. But something like a hat or a mug, which is probably going to be around that $30 or $40 range, is something that I'll still love and use every day while still showing that the person knows me and the things that I like. And that is going to do it for my list. I hope you guys found it helpful. I know that a lot of other content creators are putting out their own guides during this time of year, so hopefully mine had something new that you guys haven't heard before. And that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.